Over $80,000 on my first flip while I was working my 9 to 5. And I know a bunch of you guys got 9 to 5 and you're interested in this real estate game and you don't think you have enough time to do it, and you do. Here's your step-by-step guide as to how to do it, how I did it, and hopefully this inspires you to go take your own risks and flip your own first house. And in today's video, I am going to show you step-by-step as to how I did that. And my hope is that this makes you brave enough, if you've seen me do it, that you can do it as well and change your family's future. I bought my first flip in October of 2022. It was in Chandler, Arizona. It was a 3-bed, 1-bath, almost 1,100 square feet, huge lot. And the owner was a mom. She was letting her son live in the house with her nephews, and they were destroying the house. So when I talked to her, I actually got her via a mailer. Before you get this house under contract, what you need to do is run comps, as well as kind of estimating what your reno budget is going to be. Your comps in the neighborhood are very, very important because you need your comps and your renovation budget to actually figure out the equation for your purchase price. So what comps are recently sold properties in the neighborhood. I usually do a half a mile or less that have sold that are the same square footage, bed and bath. And what you're looking for is a fully flipped comp so that you know when you go to sell your project that you're gonna get X amount of dollars. The other thing you're gonna need to do is estimate your renovation budget. So obviously that was my first project. I didn't know what it was gonna cost. And a lot of general contractors don't like to walk the properties before you officially have them under contract. So what you do is you go on the appointment and you check out the house. You see what things need to be fixed, if it's the flooring, if it's the paint, whatever the case may be. And you take that information and you can tell whether it's gonna be a light rehab, a medium level rehab, or it's gonna be a studs out remodel, which basically means everything including drywall installation, maybe even plumbing updates needs to come out. What I ballpark for each level is $30 to $40 for a light rehab, about $50, $60-ish for a medium level rehab. And then if you're doing a full studs out remodel, you do $80 to $100 a square foot in rehab budget. So after you get your comps down and you get your estimate on your rehab budget, what you need to do is then plug these into the equation. The equation is what most flippers use, most real estate investors use to know how much they can offer on this property and still make a profit. The equation that you're gonna be using is ARV, which is after repair value, times 70% minus your rehab budget. That's gonna equal your purchase price for the property. So for example, in this specific property, my ARV was $375. So I did $375 times 70% minus my rehab budget, which I knew that this house was going to be a pretty hefty remodel. So I did $50 a square foot, and that gave me my purchase price. At that point, I submitted my offer, she accepted, we opened escrow with a title company and waited for the closing date. Fund this deal, you're going to need a special kind of lender. You cannot do traditional big bank lending on these fixer type of houses. They will not approve them. So you need to go to either a private money lender or a hard money lender. Hard money lenders you can find via Google. You can say hard money lender in my area. A private money lender you can find in a lot of real estate groups, a lot of investment groups, a lot of areas where you would network. And the benefit of a private money lender is they're usually not looking at your credit. They don't care about your bank stubs. They don't care about your work history. What they're looking at is the product itself. They're looking at the margins on the house and whether it's going to be a good flip or a good flip to their standards, and they'll lend on it. What you do at that point is then you pay interest only payments until you flip the house, and then you pay them back just like you would pay a bank. But the way you find those private money lenders is in networking areas. So what I like to tell people is to go in your local Facebook group. In Arizona, they have Azria. In Washington, they have WARI. And every single state basically has this real estate investing group that you can go into, and you can see all of the wholesalers, everybody who's selling things off market. Private money lenders will be in there, And then what you're gonna do is sign up for meetups, whether you go on the Meetup app or Eventbrite app, and look for local meetups and start networking with people. I know this is the bane of some people's existence and they do not want to network. I'm right there with you. I am very much a go to a meetup and hide in the corner type of person. But these are where you're gonna find the people with the money who are interested in funding your flips. The interest rates will always be better with a private money lender versus a hard money lender. They're not going to critique you as hard. And then that's really your two ways of funding a flip. But after you fund, you close, you bring the GC in. The GC is gonna give you an official bid. What I do is I usually have 2 or 3 GCs come look at the same house. I tell them the exact same scope of work, and then they give me their bids. On this particular house, it took me 3 months to rehab it, and it ended up costing me close to $50,000. So my estimate was pretty much on point. Now that your renovation is over, you've been in your 3 months, you need to list the property. At this point, you want to find a real estate agent that is very good at their job. I personally am licensed in Arizona and Washington, so when I do my own flips, I list them myself. But you want to find somebody that is knowledgeable in flips, that will do proper open houses for you, do the neighborhood marketing, do all of these things, because your goal is to get this thing sold basically as quick as possible. When I list my own properties, they're sold within the week. I do specific things to the property so that it looks more appealing to my buyer. I sold that flip property within the same week and I ended up selling it for $380,000. The thing that will save you on these flip projects is having a really good team. So you're gonna need to have a really good GC in mind. If you're not an agent yourself, you're gonna need to find a really good agent that will stage and hold the opens and market and do all these things for you and has negotiating skills. You're gonna want a good private money lender or hard money lender, because as you're taking these draws, you want it to be something fluid, like very easygoing process, especially if you're doing this while you're working your 9 to 5. I know a lot of people want to flip houses and do all the work themselves because you physically can. But when you're working a 9 to 5, or if you had kids, like I had my son at that time and he was like a year old, I don't have time to be babysitting contractors or even doing the work myself, or my husband at the time didn't have it either. So making sure that you have a really good GC that you trust and will make sure the project is moving forward is so important. If you guys enjoyed this video, you got an overview as to how to flip a house. If you have any questions about house flipping, please leave them in the comments below. I have a website, I do real estate coaching as well. So if you'd like to reach out to me, go ahead and look in the description and those links will be there. If not, I will see you next time. Happy flipping.